Touch the leg and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly news that features Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Top news of the week. Sikyong inaugurates new Tibet Museum of the Central Tibetan Administration. Speaker Nancy Pelosi testifies on China's human rights abuses at Congressional-Executive Commission on China hearing. Tibet House Brazil inaugurates new Tibetan Thangka exhibition. European Union Advocacy Officer participates in the Town Adoption Campaign virtual meeting. Representative Arya thanks Japan Parliament for Tibet resolution. Representative Kelsang Gyaltsen participates in seminars on Tibetan Buddhism and culture in Taiwan. Leaving fear behind screens on the opening of 2022 Winter Olympics. Sikyong Pempa Tsering formally inaugurated the new Tibet Museum, one of the extensive projects undertaken by the Central Tibetan Administration on Wednesday this week. While addressing the inaugural ceremony, Sikyong commended previous Kashak and former Sikyong, Dr. Lobsang Sengye, for the successful completion of the museum and also highlighted the guidance and visionary leadership of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in all our achievements and outstanding work. While addressing the ceremony, he reassured Tibetans around the world that His Holiness is currently in good health. Kalran for the Department of Information and International Relations, Norzin Dolma stressed that the Tibet Museum is the gateway to Tibet's political struggle and the uncensored presentation of the true situation inside Tibet. The project was initiated in 2017 with an aim to disseminate the uncensored story of Tibet to the world besides preserving the cultural heritage of Tibet. The Kalun's Deputy Speaker Dolma Tsering, parliamentarians, representatives and heads of Dharamshala-based Tibetan NGOs were among the guests at the inauguration ceremony.
In this new Tibet Museum, we have 10 different permanent sections, which includes Introduction to Tibet, History and His Holiness Life and Legacy, then Invasion section, Resistance, Escape, Exile, Contemporary Tibet, Environment and Being Tibetan. And then we also have one section on temporary exhibitions. Right now the exhibition which we showcase in that section is exhibition on the Tibetan national flag. So in this section we are in future we are going to plan like a temporary exhibition every 3-6 months, as well as this space will be used to host the other Tibetan and non-Tibetan who want to showcase their exhibition in art, for photographs and installation. And then we have also documentary screening hall where we are going to screen Tibet documentary every day at 3 p.m. and will also host a Tibet awareness talk series every week.
Speaker of the United States House of Representatives Nancy Pelosi testified at a hearing held by the Congressional-Executive Commission on China on the Beijing Winter Olympics on Thursday last week. Speaker Pelosi declared that the U.S. and the international community know the truth of China's gross human rights violations and genocide of Uyghurs, Tibetans and Hong Kongers, and if they do not speak against China because of the commercial interests, then they lose all the moral authority to speak out against human rights violations in anywhere else.
The People's Republic of China is perpetrating a campaign of gross human rights violations, including genocide. Over the next 2 weeks, it is our urgent moral duty to shine a bright light on the many human rights violations being perpetrated by the host nation.
Tibet House, Brazil marked the opening ceremony of the Tibetan Thangka exhibition on Thursday last week. The ceremony was attended by Ms. Ellen Torres, the Cultural Secretary of the capital of Sao Paulo. The Thangka exhibition is the first in-person activity of Tibet House, Brazil since the onset of pandemic and lockdown in March 2020. The 15-day Thangka exhibition will conclude on 17 February 2022 and includes 2 art retreats cum workshops conducted by Himalayan artist Mr. Ngawang Lode, who is also the curator of Thangkas for the exhibition. European Union Advocacy Officer, Office of Tibet, Brussels, Rinzin Kengkang, participated in a video conference to discuss the possibilities of reviving and expanding the existing town adoption campaign to other parts of Europe and the world. EU Advocacy Officer was invited by Mr. Jean-Louis Halloua, Mayor of Celsou-Garonne, a municipality in southwestern France. The town adoption campaign was initiated by Mr. Halloua in collaboration with France Tibet, a French Tibet support group. The campaign aims to garner grassroots support for the preservation of Tibetan identity and culture and to bring international focus and attention to the actual situation in Tibet. Representative Dr. Gyaltsen Arya of the Office of Tibet, Tokyo, expressed his deep gratitude to all the Japan Parliament members for their support to condemn human rights violations by the Chinese Communist regime on behalf of all the Tibetans and the people of the occupied regions. In the wake of the Parliament resolution passed recently to condemn China for the gross violation of human rights in Tibet and other occupied regions, All Japan Parliamentary Group for Tibet held its executive meeting on Monday this week at the Lower House Parliament Conference Hall, Nakatacho, Tokyo. Mr. Ishikawa Akimasa of the Liberal Democratic Party has been appointed as the new General Secretary of the Japan Parliamentary Support Group for Tibet. He expressed his sincere effort to keep the forum vibrant to the best of his ability. Mr. Shimomura Hagupan, Chairman of the Parliamentary Group for Tibet, welcomed the executive members and Representative Arya and explained the recent resolution to condemn the human rights violation. Around 19 members of parliament and their representatives attended the meeting. Representatives of Super Thangka, an association of Japanese monks, visited the office of Tibet, Japan and met with Representative Dr. Gyaltsen Arya. They submitted a written statement from the association expressing their solidarity with Tibetans in Tibet suffering under the brutal Chinese regime. Representative Dr. Arya thanked the envoys of Super Thangka and appreciated their concern and support at this crucial time. Representative Kelsang Gyaltsen took part in a series of conferences and discussions held by Taiwan University and Taiwan Peace Institute, speaking about the human rights abuses in Tibet and the Sino-Tibetan conflict at the end of last year. Representative Kelsang Gyaltsen took part in various activities, including inauguration of a new memorial dedicated to the 7th Changyar Rinpoche, meeting with the religious leaders from the Taiwan Christian Association, and attending an exhibition on Tibetan Buddhism, Thangka paintings, and Dharma wheels at Yilan County. Swiss-based Tibet group screened Tibetan former political prisoner Thundup Wangchin's documentary film titled Leaving Fear Behind at the International House of Associations in Geneva on the opening day of 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. The screening was followed by an hour-long interactive session with the filmmaker. The event was joined by co-president of Swiss Parliamentary Group for Tibet, Nicholas Walter, and State Councillor and member of Swiss Parliamentary Group for Tibet, Carlo Sommaruga. In recognition of his tireless work in defense of suppressed voices of Tibetans in Tibet, Thundup Wangchin was awarded several prestigious international awards, including International Press Freedom Award. He was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize 2022 earlier this week. As several Tibetans across the world protest against the Beijing Winter Olympics, Tibetans and Tibet supporters in Canberra and Auckland held a protest in front of the Chinese embassy and the Chinese consulate general respectively to highlight the human rights abuses committed by the Chinese Communist Party against Tibetans, Uyghurs, Hong Kongers, Taiwanese, Falun Gong practitioners and Chinese citizens. That is all for today's episode. See you next time and have a great weekend.